Ideas Network is an open, pan-European think tank of the EPP-ED group, the largest political group in the European Parliament. This year's annual meeting takes place here in Warsaw, where politicians, think tanks, journalists, academics, business leaders and outside experts meet to discuss the main issues facing Europe today. The EIN was established in 2002 and its first meeting took place in Oxford. Since then, its meetings have become important occasions in the calendar of centre-right politics in Europe. James Elles, a member of the EPP-ED group in the European Parliament, is the founder and chairman of the EIN.
Mr. Elles, what was the fundamental idea that led you to set up the European Ideas Network?
It went back a few years ago when I went to summer university in France, to one run by Alain Madelin for the Démocratie Libérale. I was really struck by having a party political meeting where you could discuss ideas rather than simply have a forum where people would just give monologues. So out of that came the European Ideas Network to have a summer university, and then the working groups and everything else have developed ever since then.
Over the past 5 years, the European Ideas Network has become a major meeting point, the main intellectual crossroads for the centre-right in European politics. With input from an active membership of around 600 opinion formers, the EIN addresses the key public policy issues facing the European Union.
Could you spell out the aims of the EIN?
Yeah, the European Ideas Network is rather like thinking that you can resist the invasion of armies, but you can't resist the invasion of ideas. The idea is to bring thinkers from different walks of life, from academic life, from political life, business life, to be able to share ideas for those who share a common outlook, as we do on the centre-right, to be able to feed those ideas into the European political process.
Mr. Elles, are think tanks of any good to politics?
To be honest, you can have lots of money which is ploughed into things which are bricks and mortar and salaries and large organizations, but unless those ideas have an access into the political world, they serve little purpose. So what the network does, and today with the network as it is and developing very quickly with YouTube, Facebook and other sites, we can have a much wider audience for the ideas which we generate from a simple network.
The European Ideas Fair acts as a public forum where major international and political figures showcase their thinking on forward-looking policy questions. This is an important vehicle for involving a wider audience in political discussion that will shape future centre-right thinking across Europe. By being imaginative and open, responsive and outward-looking, the EIN looks beyond the structure of the European institutions to a wider policy community that draws on global expertise and experience.
How does the European Ideas Network contribute to the political debate, and what are the tangible achievements?
Well, the network is organized with 12 working groups on the major themes of the global challenges we face for tomorrow, on subjects like globalization, energy and the environment, demography and immigration. So we produce ideas from our working groups, from the summer university, put them out on the net, to the public site so everybody can see them, and then they get fed into our political group in the European Parliament and into our national parties across Europe, of which there are more than 60 who belong to the European People's Party and European Democrats. What we believe is that the more that people actually participate in the network and then feed our ideas, we are shaping a network which is looking increasingly towards the future, which will then establish our policy objectives today more clearly. We are the only political party at a European level which has a network of this kind.
This year's debate, here in Warsaw, is focused on the challenges and choices in the world of 2025 and intends to elaborate the European Union's response to them.
What should be the priorities for Europe in the future?
I think that as we're moving out of our constitutional era, if you like, with the Reform Treaty now to be agreed by the end of this year and then ratified by national parliaments, what we find is an increasing tempo across Europe through the arteries of the network that we have to discuss and debate the global challenges in front of us. The report which we have in front of us, which will be published later in the year, a draft document, shows we're being too complacent. about the problems on energy and the environment, about how we deal with the challenges of India and China, which are real opportunities, opening markets, of how we handle globalization to make sure we innovate, we have the enterprise necessary, we have the skills and education. So these are subjects which will come much clearer into focus as a result of the work of the network, because it'll mean in practice to handle these challenges. It's a European dimension which is going to strengthen, I suspect, cooperation at a European level. It's going to mean greater transatlantic partnership, because you can't handle this without on Western values, with America and Europe working together. And it'll mean that we will have to in time establish the frontiers of the Union, because unless you have a European identity, it's very difficult to get Europeans to think together in terms of global challenges. And no frontiers, very difficult to have a European identity.
This programme was brought to you by the press service of the EPP-ED Group, the largest political group in the European Parliament. On our website you can find extended coverage of the European Ideas Network. See you again soon.